Imagine, for a second, living in a place where a single thought could land you in prison. Not an action, just a thought. Today, we're prying open the door to the DPRK, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, a nation where the rules are so extreme they feel like they've been pulled straight out of a sci-fi novel. Okay, let's get right into it. First up, forget expressing yourself through your hair. In North Korea, you don't just pick a style you like. No, the state gives you a list of pre-approved haircuts. And picking something different isn't just a bad hair day. It's seen as a sign that you're tainted by capitalism. Seriously. Next, think about your Netflix queue. Now, imagine getting caught watching a Hollywood movie or a K-drama from the South, and the punishment isn't a slap on the wrist. We're talking years, literally years, in a hard labor camp, all for watching a movie. But this one is the most chilling of all. In North Korea, a crime isn't just yours. If you're labeled an enemy of the state, it's not just you who suffers. The punishment extends to your entire family, condemning your children and even your grandchildren for a crime they had nothing to do with, often before they're even born. So, you've got to be asking, how on earth did a country get to be this isolated, this controlling? Well, the answer is buried in a complicated history of war, a divided peninsula, and the rise of one single, all-powerful family. So here's the quick backstory. After World War II, Korea gets split in two. The North falls under Soviet influence, and by 1948, Kim Il-sung takes power. The Korean War that follows is just devastating, and it only cements that division. And here's the crazy part. It ended with a ceasefire, not a peace treaty. So technically, they're still at war today. For more than 70 years since, that power has been passed down like a crown, from father to son, and now to grandson, each one tightening the grip on the country. So let's peel back the first layer of that control, the absolutely staggering number of rules that dictate what people can and cannot do every single day. And look at this list. This is where you really see how deep the control goes. It's not about big political ideas, it's about everyday life. Blue jeans? Banned. Dyeing your hair? Nope. Even sunglasses are seen as a sign of Western indulgence. The government's goal is to stop what they call ideological contamination. Basically, anything that isn't purely North Korean is a potential threat. And information? It's completely locked down. For most of us, the internet is a window to the entire world. In North Korea, they have a national intranet, which is more like a room with no windows, just a handful of government-approved websites. All TVs and radios are physically fixed to state-run channels. And trying to make a phone call to someone outside the country, that's a one-way ticket to trouble. You can't even move freely inside your own country. Imagine needing to get a government permit just to travel to the next city over to visit family. That's the reality there. And as for leaving North Korea, well, that's a privilege reserved for the absolute tippy top of the elite. For everyone else, the borders of their country are the borders of their world. Okay, so that's controlling what you do, but the regime goes so much deeper than that. It's about controlling who you fundamentally are from the second you're born. This is where we get into the rules that shape a person's mind and soul. And it all revolves around this one concept, songbun. Think of it as a social credit score you can never change because you inherit it at birth. It's a caste system based entirely on your family's history of loyalty to the regime. Your job, where you live, what you can study, even how much food you get. It's all decided by what your grandparents did decades ago. So this system breaks everyone into three groups. At the top, you have the core class. These are the descendants of revolutionary heroes. They live in the best apartments in Pyongyang, go to the best universities, and get the best jobs. Then there's the huge wavering class in the middle, just ordinary people always being watched. And at the very bottom, you have the hostile class. If your ancestor was a landowner, a Christian, or had a relative who fled to South Korea, you're basically an enemy of the state for life. Now, if you step out of line, no matter what your class is, the regime uses its most powerful weapon of fear, and it can be summed up in just one number: 3. This is the infamous three-generation punishment rule. It works like this. You commit a political crime, and you're sent to a labor camp. But it doesn't stop with you. Your parents and your children are rounded up and sent there with you. And if your children have kids inside that camp, that third generation is born a prisoner, automatically guilty because of the tainted blood of a grandparent they never knew. It's the ultimate tool to ensure obedience. And in a state where the leaders themselves are treated like gods, there's just no room for competition. You might see a few churches in Pyongyang, but they're purely for show, a facade for visiting foreigners. Any real private religious practice is a serious crime. The only worship allowed is worship of the Kim family. So you have to wonder, why go to all this trouble? It's because the entire state is built on a carefully managed illusion. It's a system designed to project a perfect image of strength, unity, and unwavering loyalty. I mean, take their elections, for example. Every few years, everybody goes to the polls to vote. But there's only one candidate on the ballot. So what's the point of that? Well, it's because it's not actually an election. It's a mandatory loyalty test. Voting isn't a right, it's a duty. And if you don't show up, you're immediately flagged as someone with questionable loyalty. The state then gets to announce 100% turnout with 100% approval, creating the illusion of a nation in perfect harmony. The level of control is so total, they have literally rewritten time itself. The rest of the world uses the Gregorian calendar. North Korea uses the Juche calendar. And what is year one? It's 1912, the year their founder, Kim Il-sung, was born. It's a constant, everyday reminder that the entire universe of their nation revolves around him. So, when you put it all together, you see the whole system is held up by these 4 pillars. First, total isolation from the outside world. Second, a relentless ideology of leader worship. Third, a constant state of fear, thanks to surveillance and rules like the 3-generation punishment. And finally, the grand illusion of a perfect, unified society. And that brings us to one last really profound question. When a government gets to control what you watch, what you wear, who you are, and even what year it is, what happens to the idea of truth itself? In a place where the state writes reality, is there anything left?